Good afternoon, grade 12. I have another question for you that we are going to look at today. This will be about entrepreneurship. So let me share my screen and let's get going. Okay, so it says read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. So Val and his son Alan started Amelia Jackson Industries in 1989. They realized that there was a market for good quality cotton rugs. I'm going to highlight as I see things that's important. They started like way back, right? They realized that there was a market for good quality cotton rugs. So they saw a gap in the market there. This happened after they purchased cotton rugs in Zimbabwe and had seen the good quality and the fact that they were machine washable. So they need to be good quality and machine washable. That's what they liked about the ones that they bought. I'm pretty sure that they will implement that in theirs. When the business started, they had very few contacts in the textile industry and they struggled to find specific yarns and cotton supplies that they were looking for. As their production increased, these difficulties eased. They purchased their third and fourth looms, which is a type of weaving equipment, as the sales continued to increase. So the business started to do better. They were then selling at top craft markets, so at a craft markets in and around Cape Town, directly to the public, and they were a regular feature at the waterfront. There they came into contact with people from all over South Africa, so that means local people and then international people, tourists, who bought many of their rugs and showed a very keen interest in their product. A few years later, they decided to on supplying shops and chain stores. So now they're not selling just personally and directly anymore. They are providing wholesalers on a wholesale basis. There we go. Now the products can also be ordered online. That's pretty important. And customers pay extra for delivery. Amelia Jackson Industries enjoy contact with their customers and they appreciate feedback. So they are in contact with their customers and they like when they get feedback. That is a symbol of good customer relations. Their customer base as well as their sales increase steadily over the years. So sales increase steadily over the years. That tells me sustainable profitability. So they moved out of the home-based environment to new premises that could accommodate all their looms, their weaving equipment. So they started by having this business from home and then eventually moved into a bigger space. They expanded their range to include shower mats, bath rugs, bedside rugs, children's rugs, large rugs, tableware and throws, etc. The illustrated bath mat costs 211 Rand and 10 cents. So let's quickly see what the questions will be. The products of the business are not sold in packaging. Instead, there is a label attached. So name 4 items of information that should be included on the label, right? So it's 4 items and 4 marks. That means I'm going to get a mark per item. I'm going to name 4. The business has to consider certain factors when they choose their product for small-scale production. Name the problem or the challenge that this business enterprise initially experienced. So the problem or the challenge that they initially experienced. I remember them talking about it in the beginning. So we'll go back and see what it is. Then identify. So I'm going to list them. I don't have to answer in full sentences necessarily. 4 production costs that they will have to pay, and that's for a total of 4 marks. The previous one was 1. State the type of media that the business uses to promote their product. Name and explain. 2 parts to this question. 2 different distribution options that is used by this business. The next question, the bath mat costs 211 Rand and 10 cents. The business makes 70% profit on each bath mat. That means 1. Each bath mat is 1 bath mat. Calculate the amount of profit they make on each bath mat that they sell and show all calculations. Okay. Then the business makes 450 Rand profit per throw. So that means on 1 throw, They are making profit of 450 Rand. Calculate the profit that the business will make. So calculate the total profit that the business will make from the throws each year if they sell 70 throws a month. Show all calculations. So there's a lot of information there that we're going to have to take into consideration. It is the profit for one throw. You have to calculate the profit for the whole year, and they sell 70 throws a month. Okay. Then the business enterprise finds that their sales usually they increase during June and July. Give an explanation. So in full sentences, why is there an increase in the sales during those months? Then the last question, analyze the information and explain why Amelia Jackson Industries shows sustainable profitability. So you're going to have to find the reasons why they are sustainably profitable, and then you have to explain it. So you'll have to elaborate a bit more. And then that is going to be 10 marks. The previous question will be 3 marks, where we have to say why during June and July is the sales going up. Then when we have to calculate the profit for the year, it's 2 marks. Where we have to calculate the amount of profit on one, it's 2 marks. And where we have to name and explain the different distribution options, that's 6 marks. So it's very important, grade 12, that we take note of mark allocations. As you can see, I forgot. And only at the end did I look at mark allocation. At least I did. But please, please, please do not forget to look at and do your mark allocations. Okay, so let's start answering our questions, and let's go back to the first question. So it says, name 4 items of information that needs to be included on a label. Now, guys, it's important that we note there's a difference between a clothing label and a food label. In this case, they're talking about bath mats. So we are going to give information that needs to be on clothing labels, as it's not a food item. So we know on any product, there needs to be a brand name or at least a trademark. All right. Then because we're dealing with bath mats, we will have to have the fiber content on there. Like, is it only 100% cotton, or is it 60% cotton and 40% polyester? What is the fiber content? Then, once again, as it is a clothing item or material, the washing instructions needs to be indicated. And then lastly, the country of origin. Now, there is other information as well. I'm talking about the price that can be added. I didn't add price here because we only have to add 4 pieces of information. So, but yeah, the instructions, brand name, the price can definitely be added on, or should be added. It can be the size, can also be added on a label like this. Now, this is a question where you could actually answer it in bullet point form if you choose to do so. Let me just fix that. There we go. Okay. 642. The business has to consider certain factors when they choose a product. Name the problem or the challenge this business initially experienced. Now, somewhere in the beginning, they do say what they struggled with. They realized there was a gap in the market. When the business started, they had very few contacts in the textile industry and struggled to find specific yarns and cottons. There we go. They had very few contacts in the textile industry and struggled to find specific yarns and cotton supplies. So our answer here is they had very little contacts in the textile industry and struggled to get 100% cotton fibers. Let's just double check that. And they struggled with specific yarns and cotton supplies. Okay, so textile industry struggled with 100% cotton fibers. Yes, more supplies. Right. Then identify 4 production costs. Now, when you talk about production costs, remember production costs are made up of 3 things: labor, overheads, and materials. So the first thing that we could answer is labor, which will be salaries and wages. Then when we talk about overheads, that includes things like your electricity and water. When it comes to materials, we're talking raw materials. We are talking labeling and packaging. There's other things as well. Let me just fix my spelling mistakes. There are other things that is included in your production cost: rent. Then administrative things like stationery and internet lines, telephone lines, cell phone contracts, and all of those things as well. Once again, this is a question that you could answer in bullet point form if you choose to do so. They just ask you to identify. Right. State the type of media that this business mainly uses to promote their products. So let's just go back to the case study or the scenario and see what they say. We know that there are 4 types or 4 ways to promote. It's electronic media, print media, outdoor media, and direct mail. Now, direct mail is not used that often anymore because, I mean, very few people still use post boxes. Outdoor media is advertising on billboards. I can't remember that they mentioned anything like that. Then the other 2, which is very popular, is print media. That's in magazines, newspapers, pamphlets, brochures, price lists. And then the other one is electronic media, which is very, very popular, like social media. Now, if we can see here, we notice that it says Amelia Jackson Industries enjoys contact with their customers and appreciates feedback, right? And just above that, we can see that these products can now be ordered online. So for me, that says it's electronic media that they are using. Electronic media. That would be my answer. Right. Name and explain 2 different distribution options used by this business. So let's just go back to the case study. We know that right in the beginning, they used craft markets and they sold directly to the public. That means it's direct distribution. So here we are going to answer direct distribution. And remember, the question says that we need to explain. So we have to give more information. I need to get like 6 marks. And there's 2 ways of distribution. So it's direct distribution and indirect distribution. So for direct distribution, they sold directly to their customers at the craft markets and online. And then the indirect distribution, this is where we use, I'm not selling directly to my customers, I use other people to sell to them. And we can, as I remember, they are here. They are decided on selling to shops and chain stores on a wholesale basis, which means that they use the middleman. Okay, so for the indirect distribution, they started to use a middleman and sold to them on a wholesale basis. Okay. Let me just fix that one. Cool. The next question. The bath mat costs 211 Rand and 10 cents. The business makes 70% profit on each bath mat. Calculate the profit on each bath mat. That means 1. So very important to show all calculations. They want you to calculate the profit. Guys, they're not asking you to calculate selling price. They just want to know how much is the profit. So 70% profit means 70 over 100. And when we say profit, that 70% profit is on the bath mat. I am adding 70% profit to the bath mat. So that 70% is added of the 211 Rand. So of means multiply. So I'm going to say 70 over 100 times 211 Rand and 10 cents. And that gives me a total of 147. Yes, 147 Rand and 77 cents. Right. There we go. It's only 2 marks. I presume that you will get, I know that you will get a mark for stating the 70% and then the final price. Okay. Then for 647, the business makes 450 Rand of profit for 1 throw. They are selling 70 throws a month. They want to know what is the profit in a year. So if they are selling or they are making 450 Rand on 1 throw, they are selling 70 throws, that is going to be a total of 31,500 Rand. Jeez, 31,500 Rands. But they want to know how much are you making in a year. So we need to take 31,500. There are 12 months in a year, and we multiply that with 12. That gives us a total of 378,000 Rand in a year. Now, when we are dealing with costing and you have to calculate any prices, grade 12, you need to remember it's money that we're dealing with. There's always an R in front, and it's always just 2 decimal places. No more than 2 decimals. Make sure that you read carefully what they ask you to how many decimals you need to round off, or if you need to round off to the nearest whole number, please read your questions carefully. Okay, this business finds that their sales increase during June and July. Give an explanation for the increase in sales. Now, June and July in South Africa is winter. These people are selling throws, one of their products. So it can be that it is winter, and people are cold. So they buy lots of throws to warm themselves up. Okay, this question counts 3 marks. I would advise to try and give more than just what we have now, maybe 2 reasons. You will get a mark for saying that it's winter and people buy new ones to get warm, but then that means I've got 2 marks. So a third reason or explanation is needed. Now, during June and July, we know that it is in the middle of the year. It's not Christmas. It's not in the beginning of the year where people spend lots of money on stationery for their kids to go into school. Everyone struggles in January. No one has money in December because we're all spending it on going on holiday and buying gifts. But in June and July, we tend to have money because we've been able to save up. Okay, so I would say customers have money saved up. Customers have money saved up since December or January. What we can also add to this answer is, why is sales increase? Now, normally when sales increase, it's because people are buying more. In this case, we know that they mentioned that they are selling locally to South Africans, but also internationally. Now, that means that there's more tourists if they sell internationally. And if the sales are going up, that means that tourists are coming to South Africa during June and July. Why would they do that though? Because in South Africa, our peak seasons are actually during the summertime. But if you're a traveler, you know that people often travel in what we call out of season times. So it could be that tourists are visiting South Africa out of season because it's cheaper. Let's say that. Tourists are visiting South Africa as it is cheaper, and thus buying gifts. If you are traveling, you always buy a gift for the people back home. It's cheaper, and thus buying gifts for those at home. I'm pretty sure that we will be able to get 3 marks out of all those reasons. Right. Then 469, which is the last one here, and which is probably the more difficult ones. Remember that in your papers, your questions are always start easy, go on to a bit more difficult, and your most difficult questions are always the last ones on in your section. So in entrepreneurship, the last 2 or 3 questions are always the most difficult ones. In clothing, the last few questions are always the most difficult ones, and so forth. So let's see what we can do here. It says, analyze the information and explain why Media Jackson Industries are showing sustainable profitability. So give reasons why they are sustainably profitable and explain or elaborate on why that is. So this business, sustainable profitability means being able to continue year after year after year after year, making money, making a profit year after year after year. Okay, so why is this business still in business? Why are they making money year after year? Val and his son Alan started Media Jackson Industries in 1989. That was quite a long time ago. So they've existed for a very long time, and this business has grown. They realized that there was a market for good quality cotton rags, and this happened after they purchased cotton rags in Zimbabwe, seen the good quality and the fact that it was machine washable. And then they started this business. So for me, I can see here, they saw a gap in the market and provided, here I'm getting to the explanation part. As you can see, I have given my reason. They saw a gap in the market and they provided good quality products. If you do not provide people with good quality, your business is not going to last year upon year upon year. So that's my first one. Then, if I go back to my case study over here, their sales continue to increase. They sold at craft markets, then directly to the public. It's for people all over South Africa and international tourists. So I believe that they have a wide variety of products that they are selling to a variety of people. Because here at the bottom, we talk about a variety of products. Okay, so let's first start off by saying they have a, where am I now? They have a wide variety of people that they sell to. And these customers, they have a wide variety of people that they sell to. Let's say which include local and international tourists, which loves their quality products. Okay, let's get back to there. The reason we said that they love their quality products, here we have all our South African international tourists who bought many of their rugs and showed a very keen interest in their products. Okay. Then, sustainably profitable, they started first to sell to locals at the craft markets, and then they decided to supply shops and chain stores on a wholesale basis. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to mention they started to sell directly at craft markets and online, but later moved on to selling to a middleman using a or selling on a wholesale basis. Right. So how many reasons do we have here so far? First up, they saw a gap in the market, provided good quality. Wide variety of people that they sell to, which is local and international. Started to sell directly, but then moved on to selling on a wholesale basis. Right. Next up, we know that they expanded their product range. And when they are now not only selling bath mats or bath rugs, they were also selling throws and other types of rugs. So they expanded their product range, which now they sell to a bigger customer group. So I've got more customers. I'm not going to run out of customers. Talking about that, we could also say they sold, no, they kept in touch. They kept in touch with their customers. They kept in touch with their customers and could therefore attend to any problems, and they appreciated the feedback. Now, look, if you do not have good customer relations, then your business is not going to succeed and grow as much. Customer service is incredibly important when it comes to a business. The better your customer service, the more people will come back. So do we have five reasons here? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5, and we've elaborated on each of those. We've said something more. We've added on to our answer. So hopefully we will get 10 marks. Right, let's quickly look at our marking guidelines and where they would give us our marks. So for number 641, which is the stuff that needs to go onto a label, as you can see, there's definitely all the information that we mentioned. So let's go to first up, brand name or trademark. That's our first mark, the fiber content, the washing instructions, the country of origin, and then the other ones that you could have added, price, etc., etc. Then for 642, the question was, what was the problem that they struggled with initially? They've got the availability of raw materials. Now, let's just see. Now, when we are marking at the end of the year, guys, we are linking your answers. Now, we said they had very little contacts in the textile industry and they struggled to get 100% cotton fibers. Now, the cotton fibers are the raw materials. The memo says they had a problem with the availability of raw materials. Now, when you struggle to get cotton fibers, you're struggling to get your raw materials. So you should get a mark in this case. Then for production costs, let's look at the memo. The production costs is rent, raw materials, labor, salaries, wages, admin costs, electricity, labeling. And let's see which ones we've mentioned. So we have here labor, salaries, and wages, electricity and water we mentioned, raw materials, and we actually said labels and packaging. So there we've got our 4 marks. The type of media that they use to promote their products, we said it's electronic media because they were selling online. The answer is electronic media or internet. Okay. And the reason we said electronic media, like I said, was because they were selling online. Now, name and explain 2 distribution options. There is only 2 distribution options, guys. The one is direct distribution, so you'll get a mark there. And the other one is indirect distribution. So you will get a mark there. But then we have to explain them. So let's see where they give marks. For direct distribution, it is to say that they sell directly to customers at craft markets or the internet. Okay. So craft markets, directly to customers, and the internet. Let's see. They sell directly to customers. Perfect. We're going to get a mark there. At the craft markets, and online. So technically, we have already got 1, 2, 3, 4 marks over here, 5 marks for indirect distribution, and we just need 1 mark. So for indirect distribution or using a middleman, this one, using a middleman is indirect distribution. Just take note of that. They supply shops and chain stores on a wholesale basis. That's where they give the marks. So wholesale basis. They started to use a middleman and sold them to on a wholesale basis. We mentioned wholesale basis. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 marks. There we go. Perfect. Let's see what we've got next. Calculate the profit. So the profit was 70%. The mark is given here for 70% of 211 Rand, which is 70 over 100. Of means times. That means that we have a total of 147, or if you rounded it off, 148. Perfect. There's the times that one and that mark. So we've got 2 marks there. Then to calculate the profit of the throws for the whole year, let's see where they give the marks, saying 70 times 450. And then for the 378, where we take the 31,500 and we multiply it with 12. Awesome. So we get a mark there and we get a mark there. Now, the business was increasing in sales during June and July. Give an explanation. So we said it's winter. People are cold and they buy thrones to warm them up. They've got money saved up since December or January. And tourists are visiting as it's cheaper and they buy gifts. Let's see what the memo says. Oh, okay. So it is winter. People are cold and they want to make themselves warmer. So just for saying that, we were receiving 3 marks. It's winter. People are cold. So they buy throws to warm them up. And there you would have received your 3 marks. But we actually said customers have got money saved up since December. Let's see if there's anything like that. In the middle of the year, money may be available. Savings may be available after the summer holiday spending. So we pretty much would have received that mark as well. And then there's an influx of tourists on out-of-season specials that want to buy gifts. We would have received marks for that as well. Okay. And then our last question, where we had to analyze the information and explain why Amelia Jackson is profitable sustainably. So let's go to our memo and see where we would get marks. The business existed since 1989 or has existed for a long time and it has grown. We did not mention that though. It survived so long because they fill a gap in the market. We talked about a gap in the market and that they offer good quality products. So we will get a mark for they saw a gap in the market and they provided good quality products. They have a wide variety of people that they sell to, which include local and international tourists, and they love their products. Let's see if there's anything in the memo there. They sell a variety of products that appeal to different people. They have a wide variety of people. There we go. Local and international tourists that love their good quality products. Let's just see if there isn't anything about that. The products are of good value because they are made from 100, they are durable. I'm pretty sure that we can get that mark over there. So these products are of good quality. Or you could have given it at that point there. Let's rather give it here. They sell good quality products. Oh, we did give that mark. Okay. Then they started to sell directly at craft markets and online, but later moved on to selling to a middleman. So they sold at a variety of stores and online, which gave them a wide customer base. They started to sell directly at craft markets and online. And then later they moved to selling these on a wholesale basis. Let's see if we mentioned anything about moving on to a wholesale basis. Okay, so not for that one. Let's see what else we said. They expanded their product range, which now sells to a bigger customer group. Expanding their product. They made a variety of products that appeal to different people. There we go. They kept in touch with customers and could therefore attend to any problems, and they appreciated the feedback. So they kept in touch with customers. Let's see if there's anything about that. Here we go. Right over here, they kept in touch with customers and they could address their queries. They kept in touch with customers and could attend to any problems or queries. Let's see. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the 10. Let's see if there's anywhere else that we could get marks here. So when we mark at the end of the year, we try to link your answers with anything that's in the memo, if it can be applicable. They want to sell, which include local and international tourists, which love their quality products. Let's see if there's anything about selling to local and international people. I'm pretty sure that this here, that appeal to different people, should have been a mark on the marking guidelines. And here we go. Their products appeal to a variety of people, such as locals and tourists. There we go. So we are also getting the mark there. International tourists. There we go. Which include local and international tourists. So that means it's 8. Selling on a wholesale basis, I'm pretty sure that we can link with a bigger customer base. Here, which gives them a wide variety of customers, a bigger customer base. There we go. Okay, and then the last one that we should actually get a mark for, we've already mentioned good quality products. They moved on a wholesale basis. Okay, so that is it for this question. I hope that it helps you guys with answering some of your questions that might come up in the finals. There's just a few days left. If there are specific questions that you want me to focus on, please let me know over on Instagram. Send me a photo of the question and we can have a look at it and try to answer it for you guys. Good luck with studying in these last few days.